There is a good reason that Final Fantasy XI still takes up most of my gaming time in 2020, 18 years after its release. I still think it's one of the best MMOs out there, and if you haven't played it, you definitely should. But in one major way, its growth to the 1.19 era has failed the game phenomenally. Phenomenally? Why can't I say that word? Phenomenally? Did I say it right the first time? Have I made things worse? Seriously though, Final Fantasy XI killed Vana'diel. Now that may sound cryptic and totally something that I would say to get you all invested in this amazing video, and guess what? It was. But I'm serious. Final Fantasy XI, one of the best part about it was that it was huge, massive, enormous world. One of the biggest games I'd ever played, and I could never see every corner if I tried. Now, as we get started with this, I want you to immediately know I still love Final Fantasy XI. I love what it's become. It's become one of the most approachable, incremental, just bite-sized bits of MMO gaming while offering a larger, grindier experience at the same time, and I think that's amazing. I love it. But we've talked about this a million times on stream. That doesn't mean that the current iteration doesn't have flaws, things that I miss from Final Fantasy XI's heyday, the mid-2000s, when the game was at its peak and delivering that classic 75 era experience. We talk about this stuff at length. But as the game has continued to grow and evolve to get to where it is now in 2020, the biggest change has been the level that you can reach. It used to be 75, then it slowly grew to 99. It grew to 99. And then beyond that to the eye level gears of 119, and essentially 119 plus at this point. Come on, the gear isn't even like remotely similar now at that level. All that in itself is okay. The problem is at 119, you're such a wrecking ball, a force of nature in Vana'diel, that nothing's a threat. Even before the trust system, everything from the 75 era is small change. It's nothing. You can obliterate zones that used to be dangerous and threatening without even thinking about it. Some of you might be saying, what's the big deal? Your strength has gotten to a point where Vana'diel itself is kind of, just under your thumb, which is cool in many ways, sure. But why go anywhere now? Think about the content that we mostly take part in. Delve, Dynamics Divergence, Ambuscade, Omen, Domain Invasion. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there, but it's all in the same general areas of Adeline and its supporting areas, the Eshka system, I don't know what you call those zones, Ryzen, Jima. You're kind of just bouncing between a couple high-level areas, which wouldn't be a big deal if there was at least something that would occasionally pull you back to the lower areas, whether it was farming for goods and resources, or notorious monsters, or I don't know, some kind of leveling experience. We talk about how awesome that would be all the time. But there's none of that. I'm babbling because I wanted to keep this one honest, and if I type it out too much, I'll filter it through a lens of trying to deliver this perfectly crafted experience. I don't want that. I want this to be a little closer to here. I hurt myself a little bit. Final Fantasy XI delivered one of the best worlds in games. I truly believe that. It was so vast and threatening and dangerous that when you traveled it and you felt like you were strong enough to travel it, it felt amazing. There is no reason in 2020 for me to go to Zeta or Barum Peninsula. I can never say that one. Oh my gosh. When is the last time I went to Tramrai Canal? I have no idea. It used to be that even once you were 75, you would still revisit older zones because there were so many reasons. Notorious monsters would drop super valuable items, sure, and that was one of the bigger reasons you'd be like, I still gotta go to Gustavberg. Come on, Leaping Lizzie's amazing, he's always gonna be amazing. But even crappier items, silk thread, beehive chips, honey, onions, wild onions, those were all still in some way valuable. I mean, yeah, you'd toss some stuff that was really worthless, but for the most part, even if you were 75 and you got some silk threads, you're probably hanging on to those. Even if you were making millions of gil doing something else, you're like, yeah, it'll still sell for like 6 to 10k a stack. That's money. But the Final Fantasy XI economy right now is so focused in on those endgame items that allow you to pop, upgrade, enhance, augment the equipment that you get at 119. It's all this inner circle of stuff that you only get at 99. You don't use silk threads for anything anymore, except the stuff that it used to be used for, but that gear, those items are kind of worthless now. There's no upgrade process for the stuff that you make with silk threads, so it just kind of goes away. Final Fantasy XI's economy used to be this big, flowing, undulating thing that grew, yes, but never totally swamped and denied the benefits of the lower level stuff that would build up to higher level items that would then be used to create even higher level items. There was this interconnectedness that a level 5 character could still get his foot in the door with the economy by farming things like silk thread. And this isn't really a conversation about the economy of Final Fantasy XI and how that's changed, but I think it's definitely one of the side effects of how they've adapted to the 119 era of Final Fantasy XI. There's no... Vana'diel's gone. There's no reason to go. The only thing I can think of is the occasional quest or mission that you have to do, which is a one-stop shop. You're not going to hang out there. You're not going to be in those zones doing anything. You're just quick checking it out. And Unity NMs. The Unity NM systems is pretty cool because it brings back notorious monsters, that were intense at the 75 era, makes them 119 difficult, and provides rewards that are valuable at 119. I like the system, but I'm sorry, teleporting out to Gusterberg, fighting a weird version of Leaping Lizzie, and then teleporting home is not experiencing Vana'diel. It's hopping to a different backdrop for a fight and then leaving again. I'm not saying that my biggest complaint is teleportation, which we have complained about. I think I did a video about it, or at least have brought it up in the past, about how teleportation shrinks Vana'diel, because as soon as you can be anywhere immediately, there's no distance, there's no travel, there's no sense of scale or size. It brings it down to in-game map sizing, which, the maps aren't that big from a how long does it take you to move around the map perspective. It's not the globe here. But when you have to walk that in a video game, it starts to feel big. But like I said, that's not my complaint here. My complaint is more that there's no reason for me to ever spend any time in Rolandberry Fields at 119 at all. You level so fast, you're out of there immediately, but in the past, leveling wasn't the only reason that you might be in Rolandberry Fields. Maybe you're harvesting. I don't know, can you harvest in Rolandberry Fields? Probably. I feel like there's a lot of stuff to harvest there. Wasn't a big harvester myself. Chocobo digging? Perchance. But no, at some point, in an attempt to correct some of the errors of how Final Fantasy XI had grown and sort of pushed away its own content, they crafted this level 99 and then 119 experience that does have some fun feedback loops and leveling experiences and growth in strength and power, and I do enjoy it, I do. But it feels like a whole separate game sometimes. It doesn't even feel like I'm playing Final Fantasy XI all the time, because Final Fantasy XI as I remember it is like shoved in a box that I can go to, but there's no real reason to. It's just like every once in a while, if I feel nostalgic, I open the box and I quick go check out Pirogano Isle, and I'm like, remember this place with that crazy NM that dropped the jump boots for Dragoon? Cool. No reason for me to be there. None. If I'm missing some interconnected thing that pulls it all together, let me know. But I don't think I am. I think over time, Final Fantasy XI lost its core heart and soul of what made 11 this vast, amazing game. And they're left with really cool combat systems, really amazing gear systems, love the interconnectedness of how players interact with skill chains and magic bursts, and everything that makes Final Fantasy XI awesome. But they lost the world, and I don't know if they care about it, or they don't want to get it back, or they just don't, but it could be the most amazing game ever in 2020 still, if they could just make a couple small changes to make the overall glory of Vana'diel still relevant. I think it just goes to show when an MMO grows over 18 years, what can happen is it sort of loses connection with that original heart and soul, and it's trying to adjust and modernize and be a more approachable game in an era where games are almost too approachable, in my opinion. All I'm saying is I'm not saying revert it to the way it was with a huge grind about every little thing, crazy amounts of travel to do anything you want to do, incredibly murderous penalties for any mistake. I loved it. I still do. but I like what 11 is, and I totally appreciate what it brings to the table. But I don't know why they haven't made a bigger attempt to pull in the grander world of Vana'diel and give me a reason to be in it. I don't want to just teleport to Maura and then Ryzen Jima and then back to Adeline to the Mog House and then occasionally hop around for some delve or omen, main invasion, ambuscade. We've made jokes in the past. What if Apex mobs were the leveling experience? What if you went back and like the first Apex mobs that you would tackle were in the dunes and that was like 0 to 50 job points? And then you go up through all the leveling camps. Like that would be amazing and way more fun than sitting in a red tunnel of death, hating everything about it. What if Ambuscade, instead of being the same stupid Horror Toto Ruins room, was instead really cool battlefields that we have throughout Final Fantasy XI? Or maybe just in the middle of a field in Battlefield Thickets or something. Neat. Like I said, the Unity system was cool because it brings back a lot of our favorite gear, favorite notorious monsters, and kind of like spices them up a little bit. But I don't want to teleport out somewhere and be like, remember this guy? And then be done. I want there to be reasons for me to farm for the eye cluster, for the optical hat pop. I want to have to brave my way into Temple of Uglef for some amazing collection of things. I don't know. There's a million ways that they could do it. And maybe due to the amount of resources they have available to them right now, they just keep kind of forcing us into the same zones and stuff that we already have. I like Dynamis Divergence. I like that it brings something new to the Dynamis formula. But what about just the open world? Can we fix the open world? We keep introducing content, things that we jump into. Great. What about the living experience, the being immersed? I want to be immersed. I'm totally babbling at this point. I left it open to bring out exactly how I was feeling it, and I hope I've done that. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think Final Fantasy XI has evolved to the point it was always going to be at, and Vana'diel as a whole is kind of just a backdrop and a big old, grand, enormous, biggest ever tutorial experience to get you to the endgame content? Or did something kind of go wrong a little bit along the way that we could pull back in? Somehow, there's a couple ways they could do it. I don't know if they're gonna have the time, resources, money, or interest to, but they could. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.
He's gotta do it before he'll die, right?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be meh.
It's gonna be me.
Actually, I think I can resist that, but
Someone has to die?
What
I didn't
is
have it
that?
set up.
No, he won't die until he gets it off.
Yeah.
I think